In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Scribo La Dotta Travertino fountain pen. I'll go over the specs, I will do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about this pen coming up. Blake here with Blake's Broadcast. On this channel, I review fountain pens, paper, and ink, and as always, I put links to the show notes in the description below. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, it really helps out my channel. Alright, let's get on with the review. This is the Scribo La Dotta Travertino fountain pen. This is the third Scribo that I've reviewed and the second one that I've owned. The La Dotta model falls right in the middle of their product line with the Feel at the top of the line and the Puma at the bottom. Now, the La Dotta is basically a Scribo Feel just without the facets, so it's rounded, but we have the same sort of vase-like shape here where it's pinched sort of in at the waist and then it kind of bulges out at the body and the cap before tapering towards the ends. It does have flat tops, so it will stand up on the desk. Overall, again, with Scribo, I do think this is better looking than the Feel, but not by a lot. I think just not having those facets makes this shape slightly more appealing. The product photos for this particular pen that Scribo did were really good. They made this pen look quite nice. They really made this material look nice. It's a resin material which is, white and sort of mint green, and then it also has like these translucent brown parts. It kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, broken glass, broken sea glass or something. It's really, I think, a pretty material. And then we have a unique brown PVD coating. This is their first time doing that. I believe this pen was released with one other pen that also maybe used this brown PVD coating, but this was sort of the first. The Travertino model is limited to 119 pieces. The price for this pen was 582 euros, but then I have a triple broad nib on here and they charge an extra 98 euros for that. I believe I paid a bit less than that. I bought this from Apple Boom and I know they had a pretty nice discount on these. I'll also say Apple Boom is a store that I've purchased from, 6 or 7 times now, and I've had very good experiences with them. They've been nice to me, and I'm 99% sure they don't know that I have a fountain pen review channel, so I think, my experience has been a typical customer experience. So give them a shout out because I think their service has been pretty nice and they have a lot of nice pens as well as some interesting used pens. Anyway, back to this pen. Let's walk through the design of the pen. As I already said, it's a vase-like shape and it sort of pinches in at the waist. But starting at the finial, we can see that Scribo leaf there, and there's sort of like a very, very fine like coin edge there, and then it's sort of got like a chamfered or beveled edge to the finial there. It looks quite good, I think. Quality of the trim here looks pretty good. And then we have the clip, which is just sort of pushed into the cap. There's no ring sort of surrounding it, so it's kind of minimal in that way. It has like this sort of rounded, almost S curve to it. It's pretty nice. It seems like it's a solid piece of metal. It's not like a stamped metal, and I can see underneath, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I can see there's like these two little tack points here where the clip is connected. And then if we go down to the cap ring, we can say it says Scribo, and then we have a very fine coin edge again, and it says Feel the Writing and Made in Italy. And then we have a little trim ring here, and this is a piston knob because this is a piston filler. And then at the very end here, it says Scribo and Italy. Just nice little engraving there, nice touch, I think. Now in terms of uncapping this pen, one full turn. So that's actually pretty nice, pretty short. And then we have a pretty big grip section here. We have threading way at the back here, and then we have this long, almost straight grip section, and then it flares out kind of right at the end there. Very, very comfortable. And then if we look at the nib here, we again have that brown PVD coating. Looks very nice, and then we can see the nib grid on the side, which is a triple broad, one of the very few companies to do a triple broad like this. So that's really the number one reason to buy a Scribo pen is these fantastic nibs. And then we have kind of that messy nib that I don't love, Feel the Writing, Scribo, and then 18K, 750, all in different fonts. Don't know why they do that, but whatever. I believe the nibs are Bach, but they're, specially made for Scribo. They have their own design. supposedly using the old Omas machinery. One thing about this pen, and I think it's true for all Scribos that I've experienced, it does not post. Well, actually, you know what? It does post. It looks so ridiculous, it doesn't even make it down the ring. You can post this, but it's super, super back heavy. It wants to fall out of my hand, and it's not super secure. So don't love that, but it is a big pen, so you don't need to post it. It's just, when you're on the go and you need a place to put the cap and your desk space is tight, being able to post a cap is always nice. Now, in terms of the dimensions here, uncapped, oh gosh, looking at roughly 135 millimeters, and capped 150. And then if we do the grip section, I'm gonna go right after the threading here, should be the widest, 11.6, and then right before it kind of flares out, 10.9. So very subtle taper there. Really nice big grip section. I definitely like that. Now, in terms of the weight, it has a very solid feeling. These are turned from solid bars of resin. So 20.68, and then with the cap, 38 grams. So they have a very solid feel that you get from those pens that are turned from solid bar. So it definitely has a nice feeling to it. Interestingly, the cap does have a decent amount of weight to it, but I don't see any kind of liner in there. I do see there's, a screw in that end plate there that connects the finial does look like it's metal. So it definitely has a hefty feeling cap. Now, let's do some comparisons with some other pens here. Here it is with a Mont Blanc 149. So you can see it's actually a bit taller than that. The 149 maybe is a touch fatter. It definitely has a bigger nib. Here's a Pilot Silverin Tsumugi and a Aurora Optima. So big full-size pen, you definitely don't need to cap this. For the writing sample, going to be using a Papermine Tomoe River notebook. These notebooks are excellent for fountain pens, and for Blake's Broadcast viewers and subscribers, you can get 10% off with code BB10 at checkout. Okay, all right, so this is a Scribo La Dotta, and this is a triple broad nib. Now, I think I may have forgotten to mention that I sent this to Matthew Chen to have him turn it into a stub. So I'm going to say it's a stub. And this ink is Hiroshi Zuku Syoro, I believe. It's funny how it looks blue on here, but when it dries down, it's going to be green with a red sheen. This is probably my favorite green Hiroshi Zuku ink. Let's try fast writing. It's mostly keeping up. I'm not getting any skipping. You can see some of the lines thinning out there, but that just might be my angle. The nib writes really, really nicely. It did need, some tweaking when I got it, which is ultimately why I sent it to Matthew Chen. But now it's a really, really nice nib. It does definitely like coated papers like this Tomoe River notebook. On the more textured papers, I wouldn't say that this struggles, but it's just much better suited for this kind of paper. Now, in terms of flexibility, there is a little bit of line variation since this was stubbed, but if we just try pushing on it, it is pretty soft and you can get some line variation there. Reverse writing, I haven't tried it, but I don't know why you would on this. It kind of does it. I think it's going to run out of ink, although it's not. Do you get any benefit from this? This is upside down and this is right side up. Not really. It's just maybe a little bit less wet. But that's pretty much it. So what are my pros and cons for the Scribo La Dotta fountain pen? I think the big pro here is the nib. Being able to get a brand new triple broad nib from the manufacturer is very special. Scribo really prioritizes their nibs. They supposedly use the Omas machinery at the Bach factory to make these, and they do feel special. They do feel nice. They have that hand-cut ebonite feed. The real reason I think to buy any Scribo is special nibs that they make. So really enjoy writing with this. It was customized by Matthew Chen, who did a fantastic job turning this into a stub. I do think the pen feels solid. It is very comfortable to use with a long, big grip section, so you can write with this for quite a long time comfortably. The fit and finish on this pen I actually have no complaints about, which is something that did bother me on some other Scribo pens that I've seen, like particularly that Feel that I reviewed previously. I don't see any issues there, so maybe this special brown PVD coating is doing a good job at protecting the material there. Now, in terms of cons, it's always the same with Scribo. It's the looks. I do think this is a better looking Scribo, but it's still not a super attractive pen, in my opinion. Now, the other con I would say is it's expensive. You know, this is in like the $700 range with the triple broad nib, so it's pricey. The pen doesn't really post. Don't love that. Kind of a minor thing, but that's pretty much it. It is a great writer. I enjoy using it, and at least compared to the other ones, you know, the quality of this does seem pretty good so far. But that's pretty much it. Do you guys have this pen? Do you like this pen? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen paper and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and until next time.